Welcome to Healing Through Dentistry podcast,
where we redefine health, wellness, and the power of your smile.
We're your hosts,
Hanna
and Eva, twin sisters, qualified dentists and medical doctors.
This is more than a dental podcast.
It's a journey into profound connection between oral health and whole body healing.
Through personal stories, inspiring client transformations, and expert insights,
we explore how dentistry can ignite energy, relieve chronic pain, and transform lives.
Get ready to discover the extraordinary ways your smile can heal, inside and out.
Let's begin.
Welcome to the Healing Through Dentistry podcast. We are your hosts, Hanna
and Eva.
And today we'd like to share our story with cavitations
and bone healing protocol. So we were talking a lot about supplementation. So we will talk about it a little bit less this time. We will tell you our personal stories and it changed our lives. So let's begin.
Yeah, what are cavitations? Like, not many people know the word. They've never heard it before. It is, to be honest, not very much taught in university.
I have to say not at all. So not general doctors nor dentists, they're not aware of this condition. They would tell you it's normal.
Yeah, anyway, so you can hear names like cavitations or cavitational osteonecrosis or NICO, N-I-C-O, or fatty degenerative osteonecrosis of jawbone, which is abbreviated to FDOJ. Anyway, you can hear a lot of names, but it is the very same thing. Let's call it cavitations because it is easy to say, and it is actually cavitations. That's how it looks. Cavitation.
It's a cavity or caverna.
It's a cavity of caverna, a space
which is created in the fact, most likely when you have the tooth removed, and most likely we have the wisdom teeth removed, and our body is not strong, doesn't have building blocks to repair, restore the tissue. We are not healing, so that you can imagine the sort of empty space, but the space would be full of fatty tissue, liquidy, mushy, lots of bacteria, viruses, parasites, and heavy toxic metals. So it's kind of a storage for the body for all we don't want. So this is the area.
I always like to explain it to people. It does really happen either after the extractions. It doesn't really matter if it is a wisdom tooth or any other. Sometimes you can even see it after extractions of baby teeth. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we see it in areas we wouldn't expect it at all. But in my eyes, it is after the extraction of your baby teeth. But also, sometimes it can happen that it does happen around undeveloped teeth. That is our story. And we were not having it in our awareness until quite recently. So we were very surprised what we have found out, and we'd like to share the experience. So this cavity or cavern, like you say, I sometimes say it's like a pot, like a space where, like Eva said, the body really dumps all the stuff which they want to hide away from us. So all the toxins are happily there, influencing us. All the anaerobic bacteria, all the fungi and candida and anything you can imagine. And it is hidden there in a little cavity, in a little cavern in your bone, upper or lower jawbone. And it does influence us systemically.
On energetic level and on health-wise also. So some clients would experience panic attacks, some because these neurotoxins or toxins are disturbing the neurosystem, or some clients would experience ill health, some clients experience palpitation, some digestive or, intestine problems. So there is lots of symptoms you could find.
It's like with the amalgam illness. It is just so many levels of it. It can be basically anything. You don't have to need to start with panic attacks, but even sadness, a lack of joy.
Yes, I probably started. We just had a client who was dealing with that situation, so it's powerful to say, but it could be any sentence. You're right.
Yeah, and usually it is connected with the area where it happens. And because most people do have issues after the wisdom teeth removal, it is the location of, from traditional Chinese medicine, where there is a meridian connecting the wisdom teeth with heart and small intestines. That's the main organs. But also,
so SIBO would be one of those symptoms as well.
That's right. Which is what I've probably had, and I'm just going to share in a minute. But also, especially, both upper and lower wisdom teeth are very big on like energy metabolism, which means, we do hear so many like people who complain about fatigue, chronic fatigue. Of course, you can always blame it on, you being active and family and whatever, kids.
And I think I can start from there, because that's my story. I would feel, and you might even not know that you lack of energy. So a frequency device was telling me that the 60% of my energy goes to the teeth, to these cavitations. So I was like, wow, okay. So I haven't had my wisdom teeth removed, but I have
realized, because you don't have any.
Yeah, I haven't had them developed. So, but we have studied more, and we realized that we could even have cavitations from the jam from undeveloped teeth. And that's what happened. So I had cavitations on each side of my second molars, and they were removed. And it was a very interesting, fascinating experience for me.
Before you said it, how do we know it? You need a 3D image, which is a CT scan. So it is not...
It's an X-ray, 3-dimensional, which would reveal the cavitations, the caverns, the cavities around the areas.
So sometimes we see it even on a 2D image when it's very obvious, but the most helpful one is the 3D image, which, to be honest, not so many dentists do have in their clinics. Anyway, we were quite surprised, both of us. Being twins, I also had cavitations on all quadrants, meaning upper, right upper, left, lower left, and lower right. And we obviously, decided to go for the treatment. And what happened afterwards was like for me, in one word, Eva can't wait to share her story, but for me, it was almost like spiritual retreat, which was happening right on the dental chair. So you probably thinking, oh, what is she talking about? She's being, like having her dental appointment. But it was just so powerful for me because, first of all, we have been given the infusion protocols like before. So,
which is the bone healing protocol we were talking about earlier. So, which means that we were really strict 1 month before: no gluten, no sugar, no unhealthy oils, no caffeine, no alcohol,
and the supplements. And that was quite funny because you reminded me about, because I went for road cycling to Mallorca and I was carrying all the supplements, just like 11 of them with me.
Can you remind us what did you take? So we can only say what we take, and then we will say your story, my story, and we cover that again with the protocol months later.
Just to more closely describe what was my experience, especially a week in Mallorca with a group of people who came over especially for biking, but also to socializing and drink alcohol and having good times. And now I'm there, a month before my treatment, and I really needed to stand my boundaries, and I wanted to stand my boundaries. I'm doing my protocol. Look, guys, I have explained I'm having a treatment in a month, and I am on this, I chose to be on this protocol, which will help me to heal myself more fast, more quick, and so that I don't have issues afterwards. And it means that I'm not going to be eating gluten. I'm not going to be eating sugars. So I'm not going to join you with, coffee and cakes. And I'm not going to be eating dairy, no alcohol, which was like, whoops, and no coffee as well. Plus, I was taking with me about like 11 different kinds of supplementation, just to name some: vitamin D3 and K2, magnesium, enzymes, collagen and vitamin C, amino acids, protein. What else, Evan?
Zinc.
Zinc.
I will tell you a tip. You don't need to remember what I did. I did a screenshot and I put it on my screen on my phone, and I knew every morning
What to take.
what to take. And it was really, you would realize later on how much it was transforming in healing benefits. So you did this month.
I did this in a month before and a month after. That's what we did, and that's what we also recommend to our clients. Again, it is individual, like I said maybe before in some other episode. One size doesn't fit all, as they say. So again, 1 month before and 1 month after is kind of the rule of thumb. But if we do have people who have more chronic issues or much older, or they're sportsmen, professional sportsmen, or they do have high levels of stress, we do recommend the bone healing protocol even longer, and then we always we do measure, or we ask them to give us their levels of vitamin D, and based on that we see as well, and we can correct.
Yeah, so we have had IV before the surgery, so we have the vitamin minerals and
Even
the other protocol,
even in a higher
dosages before the surgery. And then for me, it started happening even on the dental chair. So I was feeling, when they were removing the covers, the cavitation, the really oily, and Hanna was seeing it. She was assisting, so she saw the oily tissue which was coming out. And so I was feeling in the heart area like the lid was lifted, and my small intestine, I felt like, bubbly, like kind of nice feelings. But also I was kind of, okay, do it a little bit more there, left, right. So you're aware of your body and how it's connected. It's fascinating. So
you were almost navigating the surgeon to telepathically, because you were obviously not able to speak. Same for me.
You could speak,
but it is very interesting, and I'm grateful that I could have experienced it on my own, because now I feel how my clients do feel, because you really feel like something's wrong and it needs to be cleaned out.
Like, you want to scratch something and you want to scratch it more, so you want to
saying that, one of my clients said, I've had this weird sensation on my chin right here, and I always wanted to scratch myself, my skin. And after the cavitations, it was gone.
Right? Plus, bigger lymph nodes. Lots of clients, they have the lymph nodes are bigger because they are helping with the
immune
inflammation.
System's working.
And yes, so this is part of that also, because you are right there, right in that area. So for me, it was like on the dental chair, I was grateful because there's the emotion behind it. I was sort of light in a way, even though I was sitting, but it's just like kind of very hard to explain by words. But it was very beautiful sensation for me. But for you, it was even bigger, Hanna. So what happened to you?
Well, I'm not sure if even bigger, but I'm going to repeat you, because us being twins, again, like me, heart opening big time, but also the feeling of lightness. Like, it is hard to describe, like, what is it? But I was feeling light, like light.
More pure,
pure. I was very much in my essence. Like, after the treatment, I burst in tears, and I was grateful for myself, for anyone and everyone. I was just so happy to be alive, so happy to be, doing what I am doing. I was just grateful for this experience as such. And it was very emotional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just crying because, the treatment's gone. We see that actually on our clients, like, the emotions are actually clearing out as well. Even in the healing time afterwards, you can get, and I'm just stressing that because sometimes people are quite, not shocked, but like scared or frightened what's going on. Why are they so emotional? Because we're clearing not only the infection on a physical level, but clearing the emotions as well on so many levels. So for me, it was the lightness, the authenticity.
Authenticity.
I was being authentic and genuine, gentle. I was feeling more kind of that feminine side of me, very like sensitive person. I was there. Being very I was being kind of to some extent like vulnerable, but in a good way, like in a nice way. I allowed myself to be like more feminine. So
I feel like the biggest thing was the day after. So not only that I had no pain, no swelling, it was just a little sensation that, okay, I had stitches at each side of my jaw. But other than that, it was just no pain, no swelling. For you, Hannah, it was even better because you just woke up with full of energy.
Yeah, no, even like woke up with the full energy. I was like, right after the surgery, you would have thought, oh, big day, infusions, surgery, it's like 4 quadrants. So it's like all of your mouth is kind of affected. But I was full of energy right after. The surge of energy was incredible. Just like you were explaining in a different episode, like your client just started to think of new businesses and new ideas and talked to his wife. I was saying, I wanted to write down my ideas. And
that's what he said, actually. He was writing the ideas. He couldn't sleep until 2:00 in the morning. Then he woke up, lots of energy, like you.
Yeah, we were discussing our business and our, wishes for the future and the business plan and the strategies. But what was very nice, what I have experienced as well, that right in the morning, it wasn't that kind of waking up I was used to. I was like that, the energizing rabbit. I was just like, I got up and I like 100% am sure that it was a different sensation. I'm not saying that I had difficulty to wake up or get up, but I know that I didn't need an alarm. And I was just like, yeah, it's a new day. What's now? Let's do stuff. And I remember this is like a feeling I probably remember when I was 12 or 10 years old. And I was just so grateful for that. What happened on a physical level, which was very saying to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, is that right? That, like I said, the wisdom teeth are connected. The main organs are heart and small intestine. So, and I used to have diarrhea in the mornings and before work. And I was like, okay, this is just common for me. I took it as a standard. I thought this is psychosomatic. Maybe I am, I love what I do, but maybe I'm stressed by the operations or, this kind of a side of the business. But what happened after the cavitations surgery, it was gone.
Yeah.
It was gone. And I was like, this was like
biggest win.
God, to be kidding me. Yeah. It is what? Right? Yes. And I was like, okay, well, small intestine makes sense. Wisdom teeth area. And what was ever for both of us, I think very much saying was the even like new level of confidence. If I'm just going to start talking about the emotions, because that's what people talk less about. They are always, aware of, okay, I stopped having palpitations, or, I no longer have tonsillitis, or I no longer have high pressure. But like the emotions are very important to notice as well. So I often say to our clients, write down on a paper as well, because you don't realize the small nuances you experience. So it's good to actually write down on the paper. And what happened to us, the level of confidence, and like for me, self-love and self-acceptance and joy of life enhanced, and like joy in general, gratefulness, confidence. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, like I said, like a spiritual retreat in like a couple of hours.
Which is hard to believe if you go to for a dental treatment, right? So for you guys, we would love to share more of those stories. We will share more of our client stories, which would maybe encourage you to do your
healing
journeys. And I love that the special force or universe brought us to this path so we can, and makes us joyful to be able to
maybe help someone else,
to help other people in their journeys.
All right. Thank you for listening. And remember, the best healers
is within us.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us on Healing Through Dentistry podcast.
We hope today's conversation has inspired you to see your smile as the gateway to whole body well-being.
To stay connected, visit us on our website or follow us on social media.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit.
Until next time, remember, healing starts with a smile.
Take care,
and we will see you in the next episode.